Hey, Positive Power fans, this is Ginger Star. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Positive Power with Ginger Star. And today I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Jerome Almon. Welcome to the show, Jerome. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you very much. And I hope everything is going well with you.
You know what? Great is one of my favorite positive power words, as you guys know, but hopefully we're going to graduate from great and we're going to go to fantastic and terrific by the end of the podcast, because we always got to keep it positive here. And as always, guys, do not forget to share these videos. Don't forget to comment below. We got a lot of good material coming out within the next couple of weeks here, so stay tuned with us. And the most important thing, don't forget to hit the power button. What is the power button? Tell our fans, Jerome, what is the power button?
The subscribe button.
Yes, you definitely want to hit that button. Do not forget to hit it. Don't forget to comment, share, all of that good stuff. We have some awesome announcements coming up for you guys soon, and stay tuned. Guys, Jerome, he is a professional author, so he has actually written a book. And let me tell you guys, he has served in the Army. Thank you for your service, by the way, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So all the Positive Power fans that are listening to this podcast right now, do not forget to give a thumbs up and tell Jerome thank you for his service, because he's done quite a bit for us. Can you tell us a little bit about your adventures that you've had from when you were in the Army?
Yes, it was very interesting life long lessons. I spent a year in the desert as a paratrooper, a tanker, and I was drafted as a translator. I was the only person in my division that spoke Arabic. I loved it, especially the people that I met, and it was really very positive from the standpoint of it teaches you to be positive. It teaches you that when a problem comes along, you have to improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? And it's such a reward to overcome things. And you really learn, internally about yourself that there's nothing you can't do. You can do it. You put your mind to it. You're willing to make the necessary adjustments and sacrifices. Trust me, you can do it. It's not as difficult as you think. It's all mental, right? It's like someone said about a marathon. He says it's 90% mental and the other 10% is mental. That's just too true. It's just too true.
And that's going to actually bring me up to my next point, Jerome. So today's word of the day is persevere. And so we have a challenge for you here at Positive Power. I want you, for the rest of this interview, to say that word as many times as you can. Do you accept the challenge?
I do. I love it. Let's persevere.
All right. So, guys, we are going to persevere through this Positive Power interview. And Jerome, I love your energy, by the way. This is a great start. I think this is going to be one of the best Positive Power interviews to date. Can you guys agree with that? Guys, comment below if you think this is going to be the best Positive Power that we've ever had to date. What do you think, Jerome? You think?
Absolutely. I think that, with your energy, with your outlook, it can't be anything but fantastic. It has to be great. But you already have me feeling, so good, so positive. I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, next week, and the month after. That's positive. I'm going to persevere even more. So it's working. If we could put that in a bottle and give everybody a drink, ooh, that would be great.
Ooh, okay. Somebody market that. A bottle of Persevere. I think that that would be like a #1 seller. That's a great thing. That's a great idea. Somebody write that down for us. Okay. And I do have another question here for you. Some of our audience members were kind of interested in this book that you wrote, and we kind of want to know, can you tell us about what inspired you to write this book called Why They Hate Us So Much, but at the same time, even though it sounds like a negative book, it's really actually a very positive and a persevering and inspiring book. Can you tell our audience a little bit about this book that you wrote?
Yes, after my year in the desert, during the war, and coming back and having 9/11, I actually wrote the book in one day on 9/11. And what the reason I wrote the book is that none of the negative incidents between Americans and people in the Middle East ever should have happened. When I was there, I found people in the Middle East to be perfectly nice. They were very positive about America, right? And most America, the same thing. Americans, who doesn't love falafel? Okay, you know, there was no negative feelings concerning people in the Middle East. So the question became, why are we in this conflict? So the book is, it's a very easy to understand history, very easy to understand basic facts, very easy to understand solution to the conflict. And it's one of those things where, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and one of the episodes I just saw on the new series, Strange New Worlds, where the captain is saying, he's talking to the captain of the alleged enemy, and he's saying, hey, we don't even remember why we're fighting, right? So what the book concentrates on is that neither the people definitely don't want to be involved in this. The majority of people, the military leaders don't want to be involved in it. And it just shows how when you don't talk, when you don't interact, you jump to conclusions. And those conclusions aren't based on fact, reality, anything. And it showed that the solution and everything in the book has come true. The book was featured on Al Jazeera, which is the largest network in the Middle East. It was featured in Russia, ironically. The majority Islamic section of Russia is in the Caucasus Mountains, Chechnya. And, what the book says is that the same thing happened during the Cold War, where you had voluntary organizations between people in the East, like East Germany, and West Germany, that met, that prevented the Cold War from going hot. This is literally the truth. I've met these people and spoken with them, and that's the case in this situation. Is if people interacted or find out, okay, why are we doing this, right? And it would be brought to an end rather quickly. But the book, everybody that's read it loved it. As a matter of fact, they were actually shocked by the information in it. And since I wrote that book, the head of the CIA's Bin Laden unit, and Bob Baer, the chief national security commentator for CNN, he's a former CIA agent himself. He wrote the same book. Both of those men wrote the book after me that says the exact same thing. There is no reason for this conflict. And this is the thing. Everybody agrees in the Middle East. So that's what I'm saying. You want to look into things. You want to stay positive. And remember, we're all human beings at the end of the day that feel exactly the same way about everything. I guarantee you that.
Yes, and it is important to stay positive. I think, I've been talking to quite a few people, and one of the things that I've gotten is that it feels like there's so much negative energy being poured into the news today. Can you give the audience a little bit of your own perspective and persona of what you personally think about today's news broadcasts?
Well, you're exactly 100% right. They are pouring the negative. If you look at the stories from beginning to end, they're all negative. You would think nothing is going right in the world when most things are, right? We have an energy grid that works. We have this fantastic uh, flight system that works for passenger airlines, which always fascinates me how that system works. We have technology, which is great that we didn't have before the 80s. Um, we have, look at how many people go into school from kindergarten through college that graduate every day, that, people that enjoy themselves. Life is good, life is great. But unfortunately, the media sees positive things as ironically negative, meaning they don't make money off of it. If the world was as negative as they say, there wouldn't be a world. Just think about it, right? If you don't
That makes
don't watch the news for a week and see how differently you feel, number one, and how differently you feel about the world, you'll be way more positive in terms of your personal feeling, but you also view the world a completely different way. Take that week and interact with someone or someone's from another country, right? From another culture, from another state, the other side of the country, you'll find out, hold on, something's going wrong here. And I'll finish that off. I grew up in a small town outside of Georgia, the entire outside of Atlanta, and the entire county had 45,000 people in it, 45,404 to be exact. My sister lives in a town to this day, only has 700 people in it. Okay. Seven sisters, three brothers, four female cousins, an uncle, and a single mother in a two-bedroom house. I loved my childhood. I was happy. Okay. As a teenager, I got to see The Clash, the Ramones, AC/DC, Van Halen with David Lee Roth. Okay. I got to see the B 52s. I got to see all these great bands, right? Now, people would say, well, you grew up there. How could you say it was great and you enjoyed it? I enjoyed it, right? You don't need to be rich to enjoy your life. Good friends, good times. I always say it. Lenny Kravitz was being interviewed, and the interviewer said, "Well, how does it feel to be Lenny Kravitz? Big rock star, big old mansion, millions of dollars." And this is what he said: "Doesn't have to be that way. I didn't have to make it. I'm lucky. It's a blessing. Thank God." Right? He had the exact right attitude about it. He appreciated everything positive in his life, and that is the key. If you appreciate everything positive in your life, especially the people around you, right, you're good to go. Instead of, it's kind of like um, people that, they're rich. They have, say, a Bentley, and they're constantly trying to up their neighbor that has a Lamborghini, right? And it goes to, I compare everything to being in a club or being in a relationship. It's like a guy that will cheat. I've never understood that. It's never entered my mind. It's like, you're lucky to have a girlfriend. There are guys, I'm saying, that I personally know, I've watched them cry because they've never had a girlfriend. Okay. I'm saying anything in your life that's great. Why would you want to go and take the chance of messing it up? Right. And that's what I mean by, see, if you have a positive attitude, you don't even go into there. You don't even think that way. It never comes up. Trust me. Won't happen.
Yeah, and you got to persevere that positive attitude too.
That
Um,
that's absolute.
hey, those guys that you say that don't have a girlfriend, I am currently single. I'm just throwing it out there.
I shall let them know. They will be beating down your door. I'm telling you. There's nothing like having. I gotta say that there's nothing like having a girlfriend. I'm very lucky and fortunate. I smile. I mean, I really. It's nothing but good feelings. Well, I know men. I've been a man for 35 years. Men have to be controlled. The men have to be kept in line.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll find the right guy that I can help keep positive and tell to persevere. Well, one of these days, one of these days.
You will. It'll come to you, and you're gonna be glad you waited.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, and I had another topic here. This is a very important topic. One of the biggest topics that you said you wanted to talk about on today's show. It's about the war between Russia and Ukraine. Can you give our audience a little bit of insight and maybe tell us, some your personal take on, what's going on down there?
Yes, keep this in mind. I'm a political scientist. I attended Iowa State University, Michigan State University. One of my professors co-wrote Slovenia's constitution, is where President Trump's wife Melania is from. He's also a top European Union negotiator, right? Which Slovenia now is in NATO, but during the Cold War, it was in the Soviet Union's version of NATO called the Warsaw Pact. He was an officer in the Warsaw Pact. Now he's on NATO's side, a chief negotiator. I had professors that worked to end apartheid, actually lived in South Africa during the time Mandela was in prison. And I've worked on UN projects at the University of Toronto in Canada. So I have a big background in that. I'm sought as an expert. I have actually had 3 presidents seek advice from me. The current Prime Minister of Canada has sought me out for advice, including members of Parliament, all the way into the European Union and Australia. So when I say this, I'm saying this from a standpoint of someone that was in the military, knows people in Europe that are involved in the European Union, the European government. And the war did not have to happen. Now, this is the background of why Russia and Ukraine went at war. When the Soviet Union collapsed, there was an agreement made between Ronald Reagan and then Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev that they would allow, at that time, Germany was split, East Germany, West Germany. They would allow Germany to reunify, join NATO and the European Union, but NATO agreed not to expand, quote, 1 inch east, unquote. Okay. Since that happened, you've had about twice the number of countries that were in NATO when Germany reunified, and all of them have been east of Germany. Exactly what the West said they weren't going to do. Okay, behind the scenes, my professors and I have spoken of this many a time. The European military officers, intelligence officers, members of Parliament, and I've talked about this many a time, that if NATO tried to go into the Ukraine, it automatically means war. Okay, everybody knew that, and this is the perspective. Imagine if Mexico said it was going to join into an organization ran by China or Russia. America would never allow that. That's not going to happen. Okay, so you always have to look at it from that person's point of view, right? Now, there is a solution to this entire issue, even this late in the game. There was a solution to avoid it. This is a solution that I run a think tank. I'm the only American in it. Okay. And the people in this think tank, speaking of positive, range from my professors who are top European Union negotiators, military officers that were generals, okay, members of Parliament, right on down to high school students. Okay. And the high school students are most important because they haven't learned to lie yet. They will tell you the truth. They see things as they are. Okay. And what we came up with, this is very simple solution to it. I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and Gene Roddenberry, if you look at it, the iPhone, the iPad, he invented all of that way back in the 60s. If you go look at Star Trek, everything you see, they had it. The talking computer, the whole 9 yards. It's the neutral zone. That is the answer to the problem. That is, everything east of Germany's border is a neutral country. everything west of Russia's border is a neutral country, right? So the countries that are closest to Russia's border, they're neutral, but we understand Russia's the big kid on the block. They're going to be neutral, but leaning right toward Russia. Those closest to Germany are going to be neutral, but leaning more towards the West, right? But the
Right.
neutral zone will be a place where Russia and NATO, led by America and the Germans, will come and meet, negotiate, have trade, have talks, have cultural exchanges, but no war, right? Nobody's threatened. The agreement, we put no weapons that are offensive in the neutral zone, right? So there's no weapons that can reach either side, right?
Right.
Everybody benefits by the countries getting more money and more jobs, right? Everybody's happy. But war, I can tell you, think of the civilians in the Ukraine. It's lose lose for them in that war. There's no such thing as winning a war when it comes to civilians, and that's the tragedy of it. So even now, if you implemented that, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, would accept it. He'd take it fine. Because honestly speaking, that's what he's been saying he wanted for the past 20 years. I don't want NATO on my border, just as America. And people don't know this. Did you know America was going to invade Canada? Has invaded Canada 1775, invaded them through the War of 1812, but they were going to invade Canada in the 1970s and the 1980s, and to this day have the invasion plan on the books. Did you know that?
Oh, don't tell me that. I have a good friend in Canada.
Half of my friends are Canadians. I spent half my life in Canada. I grew up half of my life in Michigan and half in Canada. But it didn't happen, but it was over the same thing, right? See, that's what Putin is thinking. He's thinking, this is how these guys think, right? Again, to be positive, you understand how the other person is thinking, and you will find a solution. Oh, okay. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's move. You know what? Meet me halfway. And when you find out, when you meet people halfway, you don't have a problem, right? You don't have a problem. I'm telling you.
That's very true. And that doesn't just go for, people of, different countries, but I think that goes with just relationships and people in general. When you meet someone halfway, it's amazing what you can accomplish and persevere when
That
you.
is so brilliant what you just said. That's exactly right. That is so brilliant. When I grew up, I heard meet you halfway every day. I ask everyone, when was the last time you heard that? Right? When you that needs to be on a t-shirt or a whole episode. You're 100% right. Relationships, everything, because you think about it. What's the basis of a nation? Communities, right? What's the basis of communities? Family, right? What's the basis of a family? The individuals in the family, right? You don't fight with your family, you meet them halfway.
You know what? That's a very valid point. It sounds like you just got inspiration for a new book there, sir. Like,
Mhm.
meet me halfway. There you go. Right here on
Wow,
Positive
wow.
Power.
That is great. That is great. I need to get started on that. That's a great idea. That's a great idea for a podcast show, a book, t-shirt. Meet me halfway. Right? Meet me halfway.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, guys, when he comes out with that book, we're definitely going to have him again. And who knows, maybe you'll see a collab with me and Jerome somewhere down the line. That would be pretty cool. And it started right here on Positive Power, guys. So that's great. That's just wonderful, fantastic. Um, and for me personally, like I've really enjoyed meeting people like you who come on to the show. Especially, someone who's been like in the entertainment industry and who's been on the news and has really a well-rounded, really, personality, and as far as accomplishments go. Um, what is the greatest thing that you personally feel like that you have accomplished so far?
Oh, I would say by far is being able to influence young people in a positive fashion. Um, this is at the University of Colorado, Buffalo. Go Buffs. Really nice kids I met at their Welcome Fest, the opening of college there. And the kids at first were, suspicious of me. And one of them overheard me talking to the one of the producers that was running the show with the bands, and we were discussing music, and I was discussing how I saw the Clash, the Ramones, AC/DC, how my best friend in Australia, the first place Kiss stops is at her house because her sister is their number one fan on earth. And they were, hold on, you saw the Clash? You saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth? And they were like, they called me Mr. Rock and Roll. They were like, oh God, I'm just the best guy in the world. And we talked about a lot of things. And when COVID hit, this is my second time going through a COVID pandemic. I went through the first one in Toronto, Canada in 2003. I was actually interviewed by USA Today concerning it. And they called me up, and this was the greatest thing when they called me up and they said, everything you said was true. Like what you told us, we might have thought it was negative, but now we see you were being positive. Because what I was telling them is how this country got so great. American, it's a fascinating story when you see where we came from 1776 to now. Um, that was because you had people that, from George Washington, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Susan B. Anthony, right on up to the Kennedy brothers, to everyone today that has made this country what it is. They really did persevere against all odds. Like, America's a fascinating story with fascinating people that made it what it is. And that would be the greatest thing. There's nothing like some person, especially a young person, coming to you and said, you helped me, see life a different way. And they meant it positive, right? It's something Sylvester Stallone said about the entertainment business. And he says this from experience. He's broke, busted. He's sleeping in the bus station, you know, and in one weekend, he wrote Rocky. He wrote Rocky, got paid scale. And if anybody doesn't know what scale is, especially back then, basically he got paid a couple of $100 a day for Rocky that he wrote, right? And it became an Oscar winner, great movie, great series, as we know. But look at where he's at now. Very wealthy, very happy, very loved by people. If you think about it, he's one of those people don't say anything negative about, right? But look where he was at. That when, his saying was, the day you give up, the next day you would have made it. That is so true. The day you give up, the next day you would have made it. Think about that. Don't give up. Persevere.
Yeah. I can't remember where the quote came from, but I had a very good friend who told me when you want something as badly as you want to breathe, that's when you're going to be successful. And I truly believe in that, like, wholeheartedly. And when you think about accomplishments like or the writer of Rocky, or the people who have made it successful in the entertainment industry, like music wise, they all had one goal in mind, and that was to make it and to persevere and to not give up. And just listening to you, you have personally inspired me, with my podcast. I can't give up. There's not one day that I, don't sleep, um, about even my shows and my things that I personally want to produce. So I actually have a podcast called Eagle Chest Knockout. I'm actually wearing my shirt for it, Eagle Chest Knockout. Um,
Okay.
but
Now,
yeah,
what is that?
so it's a story about a dark and evil chess master who wants to take over the world. And of course, there are five superheroes that are based off of chess, like the game of chess, that rise to stop him. And what's interesting and unique about it is that they also have elements that intertwine with their chess ability. So, for example, you have the Wind Knight, or you have the Fire Prince, or the Lightning Bishop, or the Water Rook, and all their powers come from this planet that's based off of the game of chess, and it's called Planet Chessitary. And the story actually follows the main character, Chessitary, and her friends as they go on this adventure to defeat the Dark Chess Master who wants to destroy our universe. And I actually have a panel that I'm doing next year. We're going to have the whole entire cast. We have about 7 episodes of the podcast right now. And it is my personal goal, my life goal, to turn that podcast into an animated series.
That's great. That's really very interesting and really ingenious that you were able to come up with that. If you gave me forever, I couldn't do it. You have something that can be turned into a movie. That
Well,
is just downright fascinating what you've done.
yeah. Well, if you know any potential sponsors or investors, that would
I
be
do and will. That's I want to stay in contact with you because I will get it around. What I'll do is directly refer the people to you. So you're dealing. That's another thing that I do because that's what I would want. Like I hate talking through people. No, you need to talk directly with the person. You need to look at the idea. And most of them, they're just going to send the money. That's all they are. They're just going to send, they have to give away the money anyway. They're going to do it. Like one of the rappers, he opened up a store inside of his old high school that provides free food, free personal care items. He has a festival where he gives away free clothes. I have a friend that promotes music festivals, electronic music festivals. She was making $100 million in a week, mainly a weekend. That's what she was bringing in. So 100%. There are some other things that I have that um, what you're doing becomes a big part. And let me put it this way: one of the events has a built-in audience of 1.5 million people, live audience, live actually on site. Now what I'm doing will bring in at least another 500,000 people.
wow.
Okay.
And
And what
there's
you're
plenty of
doing,
opportunity. Like, I mean, we're talking like toys, the animated series itself, t-shirts, which I already got. Like I said, my friend Mark actually designed this t-shirt that was based off of the characters. And the characters are relatable. What I love about these characters is that there's something in there for everyone that they can relate to. And I know that because first off, that's just like a spoonful, not maybe not even a spoonful, more like a handful of people who came to the Comic-Con convention and were emulating these characters. And if those few people could do it, I really do believe in my product. And I just getting the right people on board behind it, um I want to see it be successful. And then when I become successful, I sincerely would love to help someone else become successful. And when I stand on that panel next year and all eyes are, on me and my team, because I keep telling my team, if I'm going to make it, you guys are going to make it. I want to help everybody on my team who supported me to get that far. Um, I would tell them, if you have a goal, I don't care if you're 2 or 65, just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. What month is that panel?
It is August 12th of next year in 2023.
That is perfect. That event that I'm talking about, it's the same month. You really have made me think positive, Ginger. Like everything is just so positive. I mean, really, this is a great show. You're doing a great thing. Keep this up. Keep this going.
I definitely appreciate that 110%. And guys, that is just a simple reminder, for those of you who are still sticking with us here. I challenge each and every one of you who are listening to the podcast today, go and do something positive for someone that you wouldn't normally do. Maybe you had a disagreement with one of your siblings, and you promised something to them and it didn't come through, and maybe you should reconsider that promise. Or maybe you'll see someone on the side of the road that you normally don't meet. Go talk to them. um, Create a story. That's all life is, guys. It's about us connecting with people and creating stories. And I sincerely believe, I tell my customers that work in the call center every day, that you guys know me. um, you know we were put on this planet to help people. That is the simplest task that we were ever given. Now, granted, if it just so happens we're helping someone and there's a big company paying us a little bit of money, we got to pay bills, right? But at the end of the day, that's all customer service is. When you think about it, that's all, just taking the time, even if you're not working, just going to say hello to somebody, maybe doing a volunteer project. I challenge you all, go make your week positive. To take Jerome's inspiration here and go do something positive. I encourage all of you to do it. And I'm sure that Jerome is going to back me up 110%.
Oh, absolutely. You're exactly right. Not only do you feel great after doing it, and that person also really appreciates it, I can tell you, but it also helps you with whatever goals and dreams you're trying to achieve and fulfill. Like it's a positive is contagious. Remember that positive is contagious. It just rolls and rolls. As a Hollywood producer told me, luck comes in bunches, and that's completely true. Like when you have good luck and you build, it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. Okay. And everything that you're saying and everything you're about, you're way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So, guys, I think he's hit positivity on the nose here. We've talked about making others happy, making yourself happy. And I think if I ever did become rich, I'd probably still keep my life pretty simple because I'm a pretty simple person. But simplicity is just, happiness. So there, I do believe you can be rich and still find balance, but you got to have the balance in the world, because money can't buy everything, guys. Money buys a lot of things, but it can't buy everything.
No, your balance is that's a very important word and a great philosophy, and that's the key is balance. Remember, you're the same person you were before you got the money, right? What you're saying is absolutely 100% right, is balance, right? And my thing with money is people say it's not. It's not. It's what you make it. Okay, and goes back to just be happy. Again, what Lenny Kravitz said, doesn't have to be this way. That was not the answer the interviewer expected.
Yes, that is awesome. All right, positive power fans, that's all the time that we have for today. Jerome, thank you so much for coming on to the show. You've brought so much positive energy and some really great advice for those of you who are listening to the podcast tonight. So thank you so much. We are heading out. And as always,
stay positive.
Stay positive. And don't forget to hit that power button down there.
That's right.